Welcome to Biggest Geekest. We are your hosts. I am Joe.
And I'm Randy.
This is episode 174 of our show, and the date is Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. And this almost wasn't a show.
Dude, I know.
You
were working like a madman.
Okay, so we're going to, 2 weeks in a row, only though it's not the whole episode, we're going to mention the Bro SR, and they talk about being elite and swole and all kinds of other dumb stuff that has nothing to do with gaming, but 11-hour day today. 11-hour day. So take that, swole, Bro SR, elite.
I tell you, dude, I had to work like 4 hours teaching and 2 hours of office hours, so it was really tough. I feel you.
Right, and it was 10 degrees out.
Yeah, it was like perfectly comfortable in the school, so yeah.
I might look okay from here up, but from the rest, I'm still in my work clothes. I even still have my cleats on from getting around in the snow.
Joe has just barely squeezed in, baby.
Well, I was done with my route around 6,
Mm-hmm.
so I still had plenty of time to get home and actually eat at our dinner table, which I didn't get a chance to do that tonight. But then they said, hey, here's a couple of packages for you to take out. Okay.
Yeah. So, had you not made it, I saw the go live button. That wouldn't have done all this music, though, would it?
Do you have little things on all the way to your right that say brand and banners and stuff?
I have banners, brand, private chat.
Okay,
Yeah.
so click on brand and see if you can see the things that I have uploaded.
I see all the pictures. So you have to literally, the custom countdown. I see.
Okay.
So
you could have.
So would I click that first and then do go live?
Huh?
So
you could have. You have the button to say that says go live.
My question is this though. So how would I do it? Because just in case something happens and I'm going to go ahead and try it.
Okay. So
you would do, because I see how to end the stream.
What I normally do is I click. There's one towards the more. Let's see. There's one that has the black background and the gray dye.
Yeah.
I put that up first. I didn't do that today because I was in a rush to cover us up. So it's a smooth transition from some kind of image to the music and then to us.
I see it.
And so I click that first to cover up, and then I hit the go live.
Okay.
I do that like 30 seconds before. Then I hit the go live when the countdown happens. And then I click this BG custom countdown, 30-second little video.
Yep.
And I click that, and then I unclick, or I guess you call it clicking, but the black background dealie.
Yeah.
So that it's removed. And then when the video ends, it just ends and removes itself.
Gotcha.
And then we start.
And then if
yeah.
I want to go out, I'll say, this is Randy and Joe's a loser, didn't show up. And then I click the outro. Got it. Very cool. Dude, I may have to get in here one of these days and make some crap happen.
Make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, enough with the sausage.
Yes.
You may see me. I was going to call you and see if you could have gotten maybe Pat or somebody to help you out so I could actually eat. But
I can go. If you want to eat, man, go black, and I'll run some crap.
I will get everything introduced, eat a few bites, and then come back in and we can talk. I will continue to listen. Usually when I go away, it's to take the dogs out, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, Legion's joined the sausage party.
All right.
Good to see you, buddy. Martin's in the house. He says Randy will likely goes, don't worry, Randy, we'll forget all this. Yes, he will.
Now, you don't want to hear me chomping on the mic. So I will mute. I will stop the cam. If I have something to say while you're talking, while I'm chowing down, then I will say something.
Gotcha.
All right. So we're not here to talk just exclusively tonight about Bro SR, because we did that kind of yesterday. Or not yesterday. Last week, we had a bigger thing about Bro SR.
And I didn't plan for it to be as big last week, but it just...
No.
Honestly, I was shocked how huge it was.
But tonight we're going to just talk about, it's a little bit tricky linguistically. What are the OSRs of today?
Right.
Because there are a few different takes on the OSR that have happened throughout the years, and where we are at today isn't where they were at the outset of the whole movement. Some would say the movement's kind of kaput, but
I think that's you're stretching to say that.
yeah, but this one article, he was like, well, it's kind of dead. I'm like, it kind of isn't, but that article is kind of, it's from
Are you talking about the
2021?
Talking about the simulacrum one?
Probably.
Yeah. So that was a little bit off. Bo Paints Minis, welcome, bud. He says OSR has a lot of different meanings. That is true. The one article that we're going to be, and Joe will post all the links, is from Simulacrum. And I think he did a pretty good job of laying out the early days of the OSR enough. And but we're going to start about kind of where that begins. And I really want to talk about the different types. I like his 4 different classifications, and then I added 2 more, the Bro and the FKR. So we'll see how that is.
Right. So there will be a bunch of links to the things that we're talking about tonight in the show notes. Hopefully I'll get to that tonight after we're done. And then you will, I could probably post them in the chat as well.
Yeah.
So did you want to just go down the line? I can post the Wikipedia Old School Renaissance that has the history in there.
Yeah, and then it's got the quick primers, and then I'm mostly I'm going to do a little bit of everything. Yeah, I'm going to talk about those primers. I have some I've highlighted some things about it just to kind of give a view, because it seems like the 2 primers, though they're pretty much in sync, the second one wasn't made exactly with the express purpose of playing just old D&D.
I do not have Twitch open because, of course, I just got here. I don't have anything except for the document open. I don't have anything going on in the background, so I don't know I don't think there's any of these people chatting. Doesn't look like anybody here is on Twitch, so that way I just sent it. I sent it so that just the YouTube guys see it. If there's somebody there on Twitch that wants to see the link, just post there in the chat, and we will kindly pop it in there.
Some of the blog spot things, there was a couple of nice videos I watched on the Bro SR and on Kriegspiel FKR that's connected to it. I'm not going to talk about I'm not going to show the videos, obviously, but I do want to talk about it a little bit. Yeah.
KFR is a little odd.
For sure.
I think it's more odd than Bro SR. At least they're not like trying to say that that's the only real.
No,
D&D.
they're just saying they like it and it's a way. So we'll get to that though. So, how was your week other than that, Workmaster? Did we game last weekend? I can't remember. We gamed last.
Well, I couldn't. We had a power outage. So on Friday, Michigan experienced. I don't know if we were the only state in that time frame that had power outages, and there may still be some folks without power.
Right.
But we had a big power outage Friday evening that ruined me from being able to actually play online. Then it was 6 hours without power, something like that, 6 or 7. And so no gaming for me this week because of that.
Right. I did get some gaming in. We had a good time. I was feeling a little low on the whole Horde Wars thing, but that session reinvigorated me. I talked to Blackwall. He gave me some ideas. It clarified some things in my mind. I think I'm still down with it and excited and want to give that a hard run at our table. But I enjoyed the game. We had me and Larry, Tim Scott was there. We had a pretty good session. Really.
Oh, wait, I missed Tim because he missed last time.
Right.
The time before. Yeah.
And we had it was deadly as heck. I mean, we all had our one heal up for the day. Got to use a potion and ran through our spells. I mean, we were cutting it close.
You guys missed the old mage assassin, huh?
We really did. We needed some sweet help from the sorcerfulness. Legion of Mist says, Randy, Rifts win. Thursdays are good for me. Tuesdays are out, obviously. But Thursday evenings, I can probably play as long as we're not planning on playing every single Thursday. If they're real short, I know he talked about short. What's up, Brian David? But yeah, Legion, I can play on Thursday, probably this week even. So, yeah, if we're going to play a short game on Thursday, I can do it. I'm ready. I want to rewrite my character sheet and get Nightlight ready to book. So,
well, I'm really happy that we have this many folks here.
yeah.
I didn't get a chance to put out any links. Not links. I didn't put out any social media announcements at all because I just I ran out of time this morning and was going to do it when I got home because a couple hours prior is pretty decent announcement time. I mean, YouTube makes an announcement, sends out a notification to folks who are subscribers, and there's I added a Discord thing so that it makes an announcement for the YouTube stream on our Discord page. So I didn't make a Facebook announcement. I didn't make anything on Twitter. So obviously it's not a big deal.
I did manage to put it on Twitter sometime this morning afternoon. I also managed to put it on Facebook, but nowhere else. And it didn't look
well, you covered the bases I missed.
Yeah, so I got that up.
Oh, MeWe. I usually put something on MeWe too.
Yeah. So, but I need to get better at that. But Ryan David's in the house. Welcome Larry Elliott, Duncan Bradley, big crew. Yeah, good crews here. I think I even saw Darth was in here tonight. It was good to see Darth. Got a little.
Yeah.
I was missing Darth last week, so I sent him a text. I said, "Dude, you okay? We ain't seen you for a while." He said life's been a little more demanding on him recently. So
yeah,
that's
like
okay.
A Jolly Rancher, intense. Mm-hmm. So L said Iowa had a power outage, but he's laughing. So there must be some insider knowledge there.
Probably to do with the caucusing and the whole their issue with trying to keep Trump. Was it Trump? Was that the Trump? Was that where they had Trump? Well, Colorado.
I don't know.
We're
not keeping track of that stuff.
Yeah. My vote's set already. I don't care what they do, so they can do whatever they want.
Right. All right. So if you're going to go ahead and get started on the OSRs and give people some refreshers, I'm going to bow out and get a couple of bites.
Yeah. So the OSR, I mean, I'm not teaching anybody anything. I just was intrigued last week that we had looked at the Bro SR and got a lot of response. I really wish that dude had left and come back, that Lee whatever. I would love to get his opinion, but I watched a couple of videos, read some of the history. The Wikipedia page, which is not perfect, describes the movement developed in the early 2000s. Most people agree it was response to third edition. So when that came out, there were folks that wanted to stick with the old TSR games. And there's a guy on, Joel put it up there, OSR Simulacrum, but looking at the old school Renaissance Wikipedia, let's see, I may be able to share this. I don't really know, guys. Give me a minute. This might work. My superior Mac sometimes is not as superior. And so let me scoot this, make this a little bigger. So if you can see here, it says the terms that's not really good for you guys. Old school revival and old school Renaissance were first used in Dragon's Foot Forum as early as 2004, 2005, referring to a growing interest of old school games. I think Dragon's Foot, Knights and Knaves, Ale House, and original D&D discussion are the blogs where all the action happened. Talks about it being in response to the third edition game, which folks did not like, and that's all good. I think for me, it's not such a big deal much anymore, but I do think it's interesting that people call it the old school revival, and then going back to the old games, but it has morphed to become several things. But there was a primer written by Matt Finch. I think he's of Mythmere Games. And then there was another one. What was it called? Something Apocrypha. Give me just a moment. Matt Finch's primer was a quick primer for old school gaming, and Principia Apocrypha, which was by both, it had Ben Milton of Questing Beast fame and a few other people, this guy named Lumpkin and David Perry, I think. I don't know everybody. but they created their own little primer for it. And what I thought was interesting was some of the highlights of what they both thought the old school way was. And I think I think that Matt, am I saying the name right? Matt Finch? That sounds wrong all of a sudden. Give me a moment here, guys. Geez, old school primer. I think it is by Matthew J. Finch, Mythmere Games. Sounds good. Around 2008. And he talked about, he called it his 4 Zen moments. He talked about rulings, not rules, which I think everybody knows what that is. It's not a huge deal. Player skill, not character abilities. These were his 4 sort of pillars of OSR. Heroic, not super heroic. Yes, he did. Dice Tales, right, Matt, I've got it. He did Swords and Wizardry. And what's funny about that, you mentioned that, Dice, is Matt even said that he didn't think that Swords and Wizardry was, how did he phrase it? I wouldn't say not as good, but not as complete as going back and playing the old games, which was kind of fascinating. Yeah, Bo, it's a great, I would encourage everybody to take a stab at it, reading both the quick, how did he phrase it? A quick primer for old school gaming and the Principia Apocrypha. The Apocrypha one's a little bit longer, but neither one of them is a very long read. And so his pillars were rulings, not rules. So you make rules on the fly, though he never said don't have rules, which is something that's going to come up in a minute. Player skill, so the player's ability to make decisions, not the abilities on their character sheet. Ironman pauses and asks a really good question. How many OSR rules should I own? I think about 46. That should be your goal. If you have less than that, then you're probably doing it wrong. L says, hold on. Matt, chat moving it all distracts Randy. He's not wrong. I'm generally a very organized guy when I teach, but on here, I'm so excited what you guys say. I want to comment on them or put it up. So I do get distracted easily. Joe helps keep me a little more level. And then his last pillar, I'm going to read the pillars again. Dang it. Rulings, not rules. Player skill over abilities. Heroic, not super heroic. And forget game balance. Now, what was interesting is when he said forget game balance, I think he was talking more about don't worry about, oh, dude, weird guy only has 45 OSRs. Shame on you. Get 47. But when he said forget game balance, he was saying don't get caught up on that. And I think a lot of the old school games and early on, TSR-era D&D style games was considered the OSR initially. He had tips for the players playing in an OSR game. I'm highlighting this primer for you. This is Matt Finch. View the entire area you've mapped out as the battleground. So in other words, use that to your advantage. Think about what you can do. If you need to run, retreat back to a room, spike the door closed. Big on player usage of what they see. They talked about scouting ahead and avoiding wandering monsters, which is pretty important because old school D&D, and when I say, I got to be careful how I phrase this, TSR-era D&D, pick your favorite, was pretty deadly. I would say maybe, Joe put that up. Star Wars D20 could be OSR now. Yeah, I guess that's an interesting. That's a delineation that gets brought up in the last article we're going to talk about. But in the primer, here's where he's sticking to. And I think mostly TSR-era D&D. If Joe would like highlight some comments, we'll come back to them because I'm going to start skipping the chat because I'm just going to focus on what I'm talking about here, or else I'll never get through it. Don't assume you can defeat any monster you encounter. I remember all the way up to late second edition when I was running games at Gen Con. That was still, and it's always been, one of my mantras. I think I've talked about it before. I was running a game where players were supposed to run from these lords of Ravenloft they had gotten together. And they had gotten together, these lords, and they were trying to attempt something. But it was like 6 lords of Ravenloft, including Aslan the Lich and Strahd, the werewolf guy, Harkon Lucas, and a bunch of others. And the party of like 7th level characters. I never intended them to fight those guys, but they did. They just said, bring it on. And I'm like, okay. They all got annihilated. And a couple of guys were like, why did you kill us? I'm like, why did you fight? You should have known you were going to die. That was literally stupid. So that's always been still is a part of my game. He stresses keeping a map. We talked about that a lot last week. Ask lots of questions. So when a player comes into a room, you don't say, I roll my search or I make a perception check. You say, look over there. There's a chest in the western corner. You also notice blood dripping on the opposite corner. Why is that? We'll go check it out. I think it would be a good idea to marry that a little bit. Me personally, I'd rather marry that with a little bit of character ability. I'm not fully old school. Yes, I'm getting to that, Ryan. He says there's a clear distinction between classic gaming and OSR. OSR invokes specific design. I do not disagree with that. But I'm going about Matt Finch was saying. So he wants people to walk in and tell them exactly what they're doing, not pulling out some skill. He made the comment, protect the magic user. He's your nuke. Hire some cannon fodder. So big on using hirelings, men-at-arms that can help fight for you. He made some of his comments were strange. Spears can usually pass the first rank of fighters. That definitely, welcome Ultra American. That definitely screams old D&D to me. The idea of worrying about spears and reach and playing sort of a combat simulator, not a combat, that's wrong. Kind of a classic tactical combat game. Not having much experience in medieval style warfare when I was very young, like 12. And by experience, I mean even reading about it, not doing it. No kidding, we didn't fight medieval. Looks like Joe's back in. I found that difficult. I found that difficult to think about. I wasn't a big reader, so the idea of pikes and halberds and attacking over other people was kind of odd. I didn't even know the strategy. And then it said his last piece of advice was check in with the grizzled one-armed guy in the tavern before each foray.
Which article were you reading out of?
I was giving the tips for players from the Quick Primer by Matt Finch.
Quick Primer, okay. Oh, yeah. That's that PDF, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to highlight this. Looks like Bloodworth did a great. He said 3 kinds of OSRs. Well, we're going to name 6 tonight, but it's fine if he said 3. And I would absolutely, at first glance, bow to Bloodworth's superiority because we're not really OSR people, not fully. Joe and I, we like more newer mechanic games, but anyway, doesn't matter.
Right. Well,
I was just saying this primer was assuming old school TSR-era D&D.
Correct. And a lot of this seems to be a bit subjective. What is OSR? When we talk about the different kinds, that's kind of an assumed question. What is OSR? And, if you just say old school gaming, and an old school game qualifies to be OSR, that's for some people too broad.
Yeah.
When the OSR moniker came out, it was pretty specific to D&D.
Yeah.
When we see folks comment about, and it's an opinion that people have, and you can have your own opinions. Not a big deal. So like this, play him as old school and use a D20, but I don't consider it OSR. And because
interesting.
It's while it's an old school, it's an old game, doesn't mean it's old school or OSR. You can consider it old school, but OSR is specific to TSR D&D. Right? That's the way a lot of people look at it. There's another Star Wars D20 could be OSR now, only because it's old, but just being old doesn't necessarily qualify to be OSR because OSR is supposed to be specific to TSR D&D. And if we try to expand that out to old games, then really OSR doesn't really have a whole lot of meaning. It just, you could just say old school and leave off the R.
What do you think of
An
these?
old school game.
Do you want to jump to the article from Simulacrum, because it talks about it gives definitions, whether you agree with them or not. I think it's at least a place to begin. So if we look at the Simulacrum article, and I'm going to see if I can do this without causing everybody to, what do you say, Joe? When I put them in like I move so fast, they get, what's the word?
You're going to give people seizures and stuff.
Seizures. Yeah, that's the word. I'm being a seizure man.
Whiplash.
Right. So check this out. Hopefully this will be clear enough. Can folks see that, or should I make it bigger? That's not too bad. The Simulacrum article, to get away from the primer and focus more on this, because everybody seems to be interested, he defines OSR in four different variants. The classic OSR, the original wave, so right after 3rd edition, it's about compatibility to the TSR games. That's what he's talking about, TSR-era D&D, and the principles espoused in the game. Now, Matt Finch has some different principles. Oh, I won't say different. He has some a little bit differently phrased principles than Ben Milton and the others. Ben Milton just says, he says, you don't worry about metagaming or the dissonance between what the players knows and what the characters knows. Favor the ingenuity of the players over strict personification of their characters. Now, that would be something that today Ryan David would disagree with, because Ryan had a big show on over on Nerd Cognito about his disdain for power gaming and metagaming. Let's not go into that. Joe and I could have a lot to say on that, but I would just say I have some things I think he left off. I could probably make it a little bigger, because Elle is claiming I'm the only one that can read it. Is that better or worse?
No, because Matt said he could read it.
Okay, well, if Matt can read it, then it's fine.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he called the first sort of wave classic OSR, then OSR adjacent, which he describes as having some of the principles, so sticking to some old school, death is on the table, and don't count your chickens before they're hatched, but some compatibility. It might add some new things. I think he put Lamentations of the Flame Princess in that particular category. Then NSR, or new SR, he called this, and this one's I'm the least with this. Talked about principles but not compatibility. I tell you, some of the games he put in the new SR were pretty crazy. Let me unshare so I don't drive people crazy, and let me just come down. I'll kind of give you some ideas. I'll just speak without showing this. Classic OSR, he put games like Lamentations of the Flame Princess, Hyperborea, Axe. Now, Hyperborea was originally Astonishing Sorcerers and Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea. The first Axe. What else do I really reckon? He said Crypts and Things, Fantastic Heroes and Witchery, Iron Falcon, Dark Dungeons, Delving Deeper. He even put Old School Essentials in there. They're often labeled retro clones in that category of classic. And then in the category of OSR adjacent, he put Dungeon Crawl Classics, which I would agree. I don't think it's very OSR.
No, it's not very compatible.
But it is adjacent in some way in terms of it has elements. It has some of the principles. Death is on the table. A lot of the others, Five Torches Deep, I've heard of. Old Swords Reign. He put Swords and Wizardry Light. Oh, yeah, that's a pretty different game. And some of the micro light games. And Knave, Black Hack, those sorts of things. He called those adjacent games. And again, remember, adjacent games are ones that have some principles and some compatibility. Then the ones that are no compatibility, the New School Revolution or new SR, I found this to be pretty stretchy. Troika? Dude, I played that. I played Troika. It is in no way, shape, or form SR anything. It's a weirdo. Dungeon World and Torchbearer he put in this game.
I think the reason he put Dungeon World in there is because of some the 6 ability scores.
Yeah.
and one other thing, but the rest is powered by the apocalypse. So that's not any way related to D&D even.
Yeah, but
except as a role-playing game, if
but
you want to call it that.
I would definitely argue that DCC is OSR adjacent. I've read it, though I think Violence has hit onto something. He says, Violence solves everything. Welcome, bud. DCC is OSR adjacent. Looks like Max was right about it being for trans allies. Yeah, they've kind of put their foot in the mouth.
Yeah.
And some folks are saying OSR adjacent's a marketing ploy. Maybe, yeah. But I would say the new SR stuff is more of the, David Guile never pulls punches. So new SR's trash games.
Well, he puts those in the commercial OSR category, the trash games.
Correct, but David's calling these trash games. He likes Dungeon World, and commercial is he calls these commercial OSR, which is for the grifters and the lazy. He put games. What did he put in there? Oh, he was not brave enough to name anything, was he?
No, I don't think
anything.
So. He didn't name names.
Now this is pre-Shadow Dark, but he said these products often originally 5th edition in nature, can be converted to old school with minimum effort. So he's talking about more of the games that don't really try to use any of the old school rules. So what he would call commercial OSR is compatibility, but not principles. I don't know. That feels like a stretch. I don't even know what he's talking about fully.
Because he doesn't give examples, but because I think he wanted to probably avoid too many people litigation maybe, or just bad mouthing him.
Right, it's possible.
Because he's basically telling people that put their game up, throws when they just throw the OSR label on there with little development apart from the old rules, and then maybe their house rules, maybe, but there's little development beyond that, and he'll call them grifters and whatnot.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess for me, I think there is something to be said that there are grifters. I don't know if all the new SR people, they call them new SR, new school revolution. I wouldn't call them really OSR at all. They are kind of stealing the name. I mean, I don't know if I'm sure they don't use new NSR, but people that talk about them do. But Mork Borg and those, they have followings. Troika has, I guess a following. I don't know. I really think it's pretty bad.
I think the way he talks about the new SR, and not NU, it's NEW. Some people are putting new in here, and that's we do that when we're poking at them, making fun of them. Yeah. But he's using the in the article NEW as in new SR, and in that category, people are taking one bit of old school something out of what's the Appendix N?
Yeah,
right.
Correct.
You take an Appendix N influence,
and there's books all over the place, dude. I have a Averonia series of books by who was that dude? Anyway, he's the guy that did he's kind of Castle Amber was based loosely off some of those books. And then you go all the way to, you can, Ryan. I would love for you. I'm going to star Ryan's comment, and I want to star David. Where's David Guile's comment? No, L's comment. We'll get to those guys. Those are good. But I do think Legion owes me a little cheek pinch. He says, I say Forbidden Lands is OSR. People get butt hurt. My butt is hurt. But I just pinch their cheeks, tell them how cute they are, pat them on the head, and send them on their way. I'm joking because honestly, I don't have Forbidden Lands, so I have no idea. So that's a free league game. It's one I want to get, but I just never have. Yeah, I agree, Bruce. Reading Dungeon World was a pain. I played it once at Gen Con and had a fantastic time, and it felt moderately oldish school, but it was I thought it was a little too easy.
No. I would say no to that. Ultra American.
Yeah, I don't.
It's its own thing.
Yeah, I think it's honestly, if I were to place Horde Wars has some old skill.
It has maybe some sensibilities.
It has some sensibilities, but to me, it's a variant, a big variant of 3rd edition with a droplet or two of ideas where skills can be used in a variety of ways. I hate to say 13th age. I don't want to push anybody away, but if you can use your skill to get things done, I would say that. So it's a little more newer mechanics, though it's not brand new. It feels a little bit like 3rd edition because you can quote unquote build your character.
Right. I mean, there's too many. I mean, there's too many mechanics that they're just all different. I mean, you have a hit roll, but you're using a different die, and there's a different scale. You start off at a different power level.
But I would say that he says it's got some OSR. I would say some sensibilities. Yeah, I think Blackwall Games, they like the OSR stuff.
Right.
Someone mentioned, is this being serious? Dice Tales may or may not be. He said, now that ISR is getting cool, it's funny, but more and more stuff is being called OSR. I think he meant now that OSR is getting cool. You're not talking about ISR as a different thing, are you? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
And a lot of folks are saying things like Larry Elliott says he'd rather just game with his friends. Yeah, I mean, if our only category to be considered OSR is the 6 stats and it's old, Cal's got it right. Not only is someone going to do it, it's going to be true. Here's what I'm saying, folks. That is, if we only say it's the 6 stats and it's old, then that would be 5e and 4th edition too. So it's not that. I'm happy with whatever definition. Yeah, it would by that if that was the definition, guys. I mean,
right. I mean, if you want to make
you get what I'm saying, Joe.
Broad,
if we're gonna,
I think we're just going to say that OSR means an old game.
Yeah.
And then the term just has no definition apart from being an old game. So then you can just say old games.
Yes.
Or old school games. I mean, you calling something OSR had a pretty fairly specific meaning at inception, but it has blossomed into lots of different things. And what does it mean to you? Which your reality kind of talk is kind of weird to me, but it doesn't right now. I think the OSR term
5R exists. I think it's an actual game.
Yeah. Right. Mac has a good point. So should we just say OSG or old school games and skip all the clan fights? Probably it would be better. But we are nerds and we'd like to nerd out about nerdy things and I mean none of this discussion is meant in a negative fashion.
I lean toward the category that that the Simulacrum guy did as classic, and I'm with Weird Guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use OSR for just old games. They have to be based on D&D rules from the past.
Right.
TSR earlier editions. Yeah. Yeah, no, I would not, Bruce. I would not classify First Edition Legend of the Ring as OSR.
I would classify it an RPG.
And an old one.
Yeah, it's an older RPG. That's probably all I don't know why we are so hyper concerned about classifications, but I mean, it's a way to differentiate some games, but
yes, you are, Legion. You're using that definition. Don't tell me you're not.
What definition?
The one I said. He don't like it. He don't like the definition where I said it was it's got to be basically using D&D rules. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, people want to say
TSR games.
TSR games. People want to say with that sensibility or that, like the one in this article that you put up, they were using the word principles.
Yes.
And unless you really nailed them down, and then you can trace them right to the books where they're clearly defined as these are the principles of the game, which you can't. You really can't. Then it's assumptions. You're making assumptions about the game.
Yep.
And a lot of people will have those same assumptions because they look at it in a similar way.
I mean, David Gwill's right. We could put all this to rest and say the only classification he really cares about is if it's good.
Is it good?
Yeah. And Ultra American, and he brings the ultimate question up, and Ryan David should be able to answer this. Do we think Horse Girl will become OAR?
I'm not sure what that is.
I think he meant OSR.
If you think OSR.
He asked it again at Ryan David. That's what I want to know. Bo agrees with Max and Mac.
Okay, if you can somehow tie old school rules into what is it called? What kind of game is it? Horse Girl? A journaling
RPG.
Right? I don't think you can make that claim very easily. I mean, you'd have to jump over all kinds of hurdles linguistically, I think.
Right.
Yeah, OMG. Horse Girl is OMG. I agree, Mr. Ryan David.
Let's see. I'm trying to get back to Legion's original statement about how he defined it.
I know.
He doesn't like the 6 ability score definition. I think you want the feel, right?
Yeah, but that's subjective.
I know. Unfortunately, it is. Everybody says, "I feel this when I'm playing D. I feel this. I don't feel nothing. I feel hungry when I'm playing D&D."
Legion will often say the soul of the game, and that's totally subjective because there's lots of people that play the game and they'll say, "What is D&D to you?" And they'll say a lot of different things. Someone told me that it's about rape and pillage. So that I will say, no, go away. So,
well, we're going to go with those 4 definitions, unless you're again. What do you think, Joe? Or did you like his definitions well enough? Let me do some more sharing.
All right, so there's a lot of games that use that label and call themselves that thing. So either you just poo-poo on the whole thing, or you try to divide them up. And this is as good as anybody else's attempt to divide things up into categories so that when you're reading his article, it doesn't mean you have to ascribe to this and adopt it as your own. But when you're reading his article, he can divide all of these things up into chunks and make them more digestible individually. So if we take it as it's meant, as in here is how the author of this article, this is how the author have just see it and divide it up instead of, I don't agree with that. Well, why don't you stop, doing that and just read the article for what it is. I mean, he doesn't use any crazy lefty talk in it.
And he's not terribly inflammatory with the way he like, I'm doing this. He's not being like, I'm all swole because I did this. But Ironman said something that's both funny, but I won't say I take umbrage at it, but I would argue. He says, if it takes us 2 hours to define OSR, then it's too fluid to have a specific definition. On one hand,
we can have a 2-hour discussion about it, but we don't need 2 hours to define it.
Well, we're never going to agree. That's the point I'm going to make. I don't know.
The Nacho SR.
Well,
thank you, Patty's Parlor. That is funny. I was watching on Rumble, but I had to say, and I was late getting here, so I don't have Rumble up to look at.
I do, but I'm not noticing.
But you're not, so you fail. But I had to say the only SR you need to know is the Nacho SR.
It's Nacho SR. We have not mentioned. Someone mentioned. Ultra says wretched. Someone had mentioned wretched earlier. I think it might have been.
Do we have to?
No, the wretched universe.
Do we have to? Oh, that's the Red Room, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. If they can call themselves OSR if they want, I don't care.
I don't. I guess. The truth is, I'm like David Will. I don't care, but I think it's interesting. There's 2 other categories which might bring a. Let's see if we can do this without causing too much ruckus. I looked up something, and I saw this just on a dumb Reddit post, and I dove into it. Oh, here's Dice Tales. He's defining for us. OSR is no skill system, quick combat resolution without a lot of crunch, rulings, not rules, no feats, no roll mechanics outside of the core items of fighting and magic and thievery.
That's
I don't,
certainly one take.
and that's one take that's reasonable, Dice Tales. But L asked me a question a second ago. Said, did you see pundit video just before stream? He claims combat was not the original purpose of TTRPGs.
How is that possible when it was made from a
War
game?
game, yeah, that's hard to believe.
Now,
But,
if you, I can see where he's coming from to a degree.
Yep.
When you look at some of the early folks,
Yep.
They'll talk about acting and thespianism and nonsense like that, because that's what I think it is.
It's not nonsense, Joe.
Yeah, it is.
You're
Completely.
playing a role, dude.
Yeah, I can do that without acting. So
I won't allow it. I call it non-role playing when Joe's playing.
So the thing is, it was born out of a war game. That's all about combat.
Yeah. But have you seen Secrets of Blackmore?
No.
They do a lot of wheelie dealy stuff, which gives credence to the Bro SR a little bit.
Right. So they do a lot of Mother May I, can I do this?
Yeah. We did too. Old school D&D was like that.
Yeah. A lot of discussing back and forth. Yeah, wheelie dilly. I guess that's okay, but can I do this? Let's think about it. Let's discuss it. Blah blah blah. That's can be as jarring and crashing of the game to a halt as someone taking 10 minutes to decide what they're going to do on their turn, in my opinion. So I like to keep that kind of stuff. If we're going to do that, we do, I think, a decent job of when someone wants to do something that's not necessarily in the rules, we say, hey, can I do this? You say, does your make that roll or whatever? How are you, or you may ask for clarification. How are you going to do that? Let me tell me how your character does that, and then make a roll. And it's almost as fast as that. As long as that is what the wheelie dealy stuff is, I'm fine with it.
The Cal says he saw Secrets of Blackmore. It's a combat game. I don't disagree. I think D&D is a combat game. And I think the old school game was a combat game, but they threw in they were trying to become more role play with their generals. I think Weird Guy said that earlier.
And there's also...
Here it was. Weird Guy says as they play chainmail battles, then between battles, they play D&D to gear up their generals. Yeah, and to get them to have different sort of storylines.
And I think there's some truth to this. The RPG stuff, or RP stuff, evolved because of Arneson's Blackmore campaign.
Yes.
Because some of the really old guys,
yep,
maybe a generation older than us, or maybe 10 years or so,
yep,
they'll say stuff like, if they have to pick up a die in combat, I've done something wrong. I remember that being a quote. Wasn't Ed Greenwood said something like that?
Oh, I've heard him. Oh, I remember one time in Gen Con, I heard it secondhand, but he did tell one of my friends who knows Ed pretty well, said that as well as you can as a fan coming to a convention.
See you later, Violence.
Oh, later, bud. That Greenwood talked about his games. He said that if he had to roll a die, if combat broke out, somebody messed up. That's how he phrased it.
Somebody messed up. Yeah, somebody messed up.
But they like the talkie. Greenwood does.
So I've made this comment before, and this is just me. I'm not going to tell anybody that they have to adopt my point of view.
Mm-hmm.
That's all on Bro SR. They can do that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, D&D is not just sitting around the campfire and telling stories.
I agree.
And so that's one thing that Bro SR, I think, has right, where it's not the focus of the game it's not a storytelling game, in my opinion. You can do that, but you don't need a rule set to do that.
I agree.
So whenever you have a rule set, to me, that kind of, I know that there's RP rules, where you take, narrative, where you switch narrative around the table and stuff like that. But you don't need a rule set to tell stories. That's something that you do in addition to the gamey parts of the game, the fighty stuff and, punching bartenders in the face because they dare give lip to the PCs.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The story is best when it develops sort of organically at the table, not
Right.
the
And it's a
DM
messy
guiding.
story.
Sure, it can be. It can be.
Yeah, because as as a DM, your best laid plans often get ruined by us players because we want to go off and do something else.
Yeah. Legion's got it. Role playing plus game equals emergent storytelling based on character actions, choices, and die rolls. Sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
a story emerges from the play of the game.
Yeah.
It's a game. It is a game that has role playing elements.
But as a dungeon master, I can fairly, not railroading you, put a series of challenges or put a series of plots, machinations or plots or plans that my NPCs have, and your NPCs and your
We
PCs
interact.
can muck it up as much as you want.
Sure.
But I'm saying that I can bring that to the forefront and you can follow it or ignore it. And sometimes, I mean, and I don't mean this to be like, you're not doing my adventure, so I'm going to kill you. But if you ignore some things
There
you
are
can pay for.
consequences.
There are consequences, right?
Sure.
You ignore the little necromancer apprentice hanging out in the collecting bones in the graveyard of the town, say, it's not a big deal. And you ignore it the next time when you find out, oh, look, he's moved to this old keep. Oh, man, I heard he gathered a force of orcs to help him. Oh, my God, he's got skeletons. Look, he's a freaking lich. By the time, and maybe you're ready. Maybe you've done enough, and by the time that happens, you're ready to kick his face in. So,
right. Huh?
Is Elle calling me unfair?
I was trying to start something.
I call bullshit. You fair 3 magic items and 3. That's a pretty good record there, Elle. A magic item every 10 years. That's pretty fair. I think that's more than fair. Joe's not going to say nothing because he knows it's not fair, but I like the sound of it.
Right. Fair is the wrong word. It's how Randy likes it.
Ba-dum-bum. So let's talk about the other two that I found that I thought were quirky. So the Bro SR, looking at some of their websites, and I watched a video, which I actually like the video that I linked to you, Joe, on YouTube. It's by this Joys of Wargaming guy. He was a little broish, and makes the game good, and I'm slow, a little elite, but he wasn't annoying to me. He didn't annoy me. They basically said AD&D with no house rules, do everything Gary told you to do, patron play, domain level play, and then basically what it came down to, and he concluded this: you can run a Game of Thrones style game, but he did mention several times you may have to massage these ideas for your own table. It may not work for you. Right. So he was not as hard line as the others.
Right.
But he did seem to think, correct. But he did seem to think this was the best game. Now, probably, I think a certain game is the best game. I think a certain way is a certain way to play.
When you say best
for you.
Best is a subjective term. Unless you preface that with, this is what makes the game best.
Yes.
Here's some guidelines or qualifications.
Yeah. And so for me, they seem to really want, and I listened to his 1-to-1 time. That was part of it too, which is, what do they call him? Jeffro Gaxian time, or Jeffro Gygaxian 1-to-1 time.
It is a way.
Tristel says, Joys of Wargaming unashamedly proclaims he's playing D&D as a war game. Fair enough.
Right. And the one of the articles I read recently about
I like this video
puts it out as a war game. When they play it as a war game, which puts it into a different perspective. When we play at the table, it's not a war game. It's an adventure game. That the war might happen, combat and conflicts happen, but it's not a war game to us.
I've had an actual war in a campaign that the players had a part of, I think once or twice in 40 plus years. Right. It's just not a big part of what I want to happen. I think Joy of Wargaming is fine. He's a Bro SR dude. He actually explained it. I was fine with it. I think, though, the way he described it, when he said it could be a game of, will make your game more of Game of Thrones. What if you don't want that?
That'll turn me off in a heartbeat.
Correct. If it's because it's going to be like our Elysium game. Our Elysium game.
Porn.
Our Elysium game, not just misery porn. He was talking from the political machinations for it. Every player players theoretically would have a chance to DM. his example was great. He said, imagine that you do an adventure, you bring the treasure back, and it's downtime. So everybody's telling the DM what they're going to do. And they say, hey, we're going to go check this thing out when we come back. Okay. And the fighter's like, I got 3 weeks. There's a caravan that's going 6 days out over the mountain and back. I'm going to do that in the 3 weeks. And you'll gain so much gold for doing it, getting paid. And another player the next week says, hey guys, I have an idea. There's some goblins in the mountain. I'm going to have an event happen while you're traveling. And so that fighter gets in there and he kicks the crap out of the goblins, right? He beats the crap out of them, gets extra treasure, extra pay, and he comes back with more experience and more money in sort of what you would call well, I wouldn't say realistic, but they would say, what's the word you love? Organic way. And he's like, hey, I did this. And then later on, another player goes, you know what? The goblins are pretty mad that you did that. So they spend the next 3 months building up their forces and they start attacking people all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And so and the description is other players could take the mantle of the DM and run it, but you just got to keep track of where your character is. L says, different comment. He says, Cthulhu is perfect for me. I get to torture my players. I should check it out then. I'll take your word for it. But so my point with the Bro SR is I have some respect for those that aren't being buttholes about it.
Right.
I can see the allure of it, but I can't get with that's the way D&D was meant to play. That even if that was Gary's intention, which I don't think it was. He said some things like that, but it doesn't matter. That's not how I'm going to play. And so it's irrelevant what the intention was.
Right.
I'm running the game the way I want.
Do everything Gary told you to do.
Yep. But
no.
And they weren't full. He wasn't even fully saying that, but Gary did he showed some Dungeon Master Guide comments, which is all fine. But my point, I say that there's a small group. He said a few dozen groups that would play like that, and if they like it, do it. And I think it's a perfectly fine. I think it's OSR definitely. They're using mostly AD&D or Axe. Hey, later, Larry. He's bugging out. I think it's a perfectly fine way to play the game if you want to. Just don't act like you're better than everybody.
Right. So when they start talking about elite gaming and there's only one objectively correct way to play D&D.
Yeah.
And the insane do everything Gary told you to do, but they'll balk at the quote I put up about when Gary said, it's your game, play how you want, to paraphrase. He also said that if you stray too far from the core, you're maybe not playing D&D anymore, but he sure didn't say what that looked like. He didn't say if you don't have the X, Y, and Z elements in there, it's no longer D&D. It was vague.
And this guy didn't say that. At no point did he say you weren't playing D&D. He said that's how he likes to play. So, to be fair, he was not trying to make that comment.
But yeah, others will though. And he had that tenet in there, didn't he? Do all the things Gary told you to do.
Yeah.
And people will say, do that. That's
right.
what you're supposed to do. And okay, the game is however I want to play it. And
correct.
Then they'll go, oh, you can't do that.
With those three things, you can miss me with that. I'm out on 1-to-1 time. I'm out on having to play AD&D, and I'm out on the Gary way. Not that I don't like Gary, but dude, come on.
And 1-to-1 time is an interpretation of Gary saying,
he said both things we talked about last week.
Yeah, meticulous records, right?
But I listened to the guy, and I was like, I could have fun playing something like that. I could enjoy that game. It wouldn't be something I would play all the time, and I could see it becoming onerous. I mean, we tried. It wasn't really the Bro SR thing when we did it, but our Elysium game was getting like that, and it was very demanding of us to keep track of stuff. So It wasn't ideal. And we didn't do 1-to-1 time, but we did try to keep track of a million plot threads, and every DM could be a player. And thanks, Legion. I'll check it out. He sent me something in Discord.
Cool.
And then there was the other one. So Bro SR, it's cool. I mean, if I had to rate it from a scale from 1 to 10, I would give it a 4 or a 5 for my preference, but I wouldn't call it poop. If you want to play that way, do it. Yeah.
Right. It's a way to play. And if that's all we ever heard from them, hey, here's a cool way to play. Why don't you check it out?
Then I would say, all right, dudes.
Yeah. But
do your
no,
thing.
they just do all this other stuff. Well,
Yeah.
some of them.
Yeah. Then there was this one, which I only found on a comment on Reddit, but I found a video by Ben Milton. Did you watch that video?
No.
I thought it does a very good, and Ben doesn't necessarily play that way, but he has some elements of it. It's called FKR. That would be free Kriegspiel, German word, revolution. Joe, if you'd put that YouTube video, if you'd link that, it'd be great for those to watch. But here's the highlights of this style of play. And it's only been around for a few years, I think. Are people talking about it? The numbers don't add up to a game. If the fiction fits, you try it. Play worlds, not rules. Yes, Kriegspiel means war game, but this is not what they're talking about.
That's just kind of the origin of the term.
Yeah, and there was I read the other article. I can't recall how it said. Let me hop to it.
Well, part of it was an objection that a fella had back in the 1800s.
Yeah.
When the Kriegspiel was how they did war games for soldiers.
Right. Thank you, Joe.
And one fella said, hey, they had umpires to, adjudicate everything. And they had some rules. And this one fella said, hey, no rules because it gets in the way of the umpire adjudicating things. So
and he was talking about rules. And the idea was they were playing real war games. And the generals were like, yeah, you can have rules. But when your plan hits the actual battlefield, it doesn't survive the contact with the other side. You got to be prepared to wing it and change things. So I get it. The gist is rules light. The character sheet doesn't limit what the player does. It's got a strong story element. The biggest challenge is it requires a lot of trust, and you've got to do the Mother May I is there. The DM has a lot of freedom. He may come to the table with 2d6 and saying, that's what we're rolling today. And that may be it. And you just try things that make sense. When you come upon, an ogre that's rushing you from a distance, you don't say, if he rushes past me, do I get an attack of opportunity? But you might say he exposes himself, so I'm going to attack him as he swings by. It's not that you can't use that word. Kriegspiel, whatever the case may be, Al, that may be true. But this is not Kriegspiel. This is free. I'm going to write it in there. If I can find it. Kriegspiel Revolution. Yeah. And I can't type it in. Wait a moment and try again. It doesn't like me typing. Whatever. There it is. Kriegspiel Revolution, FKR. It's a style of playing where the DM has very little rules. I can say that Joe would probably hate it. Would you hate it even if the DM was totally fair?
Well, I don't know if I'd hate it. I'd have to play it.
Yeah.
It seems to me, when people say it's the player's skill, not the character's skill kind of talk, that to me is kind of silly. Because you can do both. You as you know the game rules, and maybe you're good at tactics and whatnot, and then you're good at a good player, but your character, you're playing a role, and your character should be limited and to what it can possibly do based on who that character is. The FKR and other types of games like it, they're like, nah, whatever you think you can do. I know that's kind of whatever a person could do,
you can attempt
your character should be able to do.
And I wonder how they handle magic. I wonder, because there was a comment, maybe it was Ben Milton in the video, or it was in that article, where it said, like, for example, you don't get better. Your character doesn't get that much better. You gain resources to become powerful.
You just sent it to Twitch. You didn't send it.
Oh, okay. It went to Twitch. Okay.
Right. So here it is. You did kind of misspell it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure I did. Trying to type quickly. I think it's interesting, but I don't think I would play it because it's kind of like you're just on your own. You're just winging stuff. It doesn't mean it couldn't be good. A guy with a definite idea in mind, how things should run, how players would gain. Like, how does a wizard gain spells in that? I guess through finding books and studying them.
To me, and on some level, you still have rules.
Yeah.
But they're
mostly on the DM
idea
side.
There's several. I've heard several. YouTubers and others would say stuff like, "Keep look away from your character sheet and just do things." And I'm like, okay, all right, I get that, and I think outside the box all the time.
Yeah,
but your character is still your character.
And that's the thing. I'm with you because you get too far from that. For me, free Kriegspiel Revolution doesn't strike me as something I'd want to do. It's definitely something I'd want to try.
So because I would know how to make gunpowder, does that mean my character can go figure out how to make gunpowder?
I don't know. I
mean, that's to me, that's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's what they're saying,
because gunpowder doesn't need a whole lot of.
I think you would set your milieu. So if you're running Conan style setting and there is no gunpowder, I don't think you're allowed to pull them. I know how to we got a friend that's high level PhD in chemistry and chemist. He's not going to be creating nuclear fission or whatever he can do in a fantasy game. I don't think that's what they mean. So I would say no to that. But I think within the setting, so to me, the DM has got to have a strong idea of what his setting is. I mean, very strong to know what is and isn't possible. And he would have to, it sounds like the DM has lots of control. So the trust comes in that you got to believe he's trying to guide the game a certain way. So it would take time to figure things out. Right.
Right. So just to let everybody know, FKR uses the Kriegspiel word in it.
Correct.
But it isn't equivalent.
It's a movement. It's a movement.
It's a group of RPers that have, some commonality. And I put a link up there for folks to look at that if they want to.
Yeah, and you gave them the video with Ben, right? Which I think is pretty good. Yeah.
The video and the link there. It's it's a little odd when I read the article about free Kriegspiel.
There wasn't much to it. I thought the video was much better. I mean, okay. I would strongly encourage you to watch it. Video. Watch it on Questing Beast. I think he did a pretty good job explaining it. But it's still, I mean, it's just a style that's very loosey-goosey. I mean, at least on the surface. So no one would really know. I don't know how you know what. So, each game would be massively different.
I followed some links in that article, and people were saying it's a high-trust game. And when I got into high trust games, it felt so right for me, and so we feel sad for the folks that are in low trust games. Oh, okay, if that's the kind of attitude folks have, I don't want to get anywhere around it. It's kind of
Max says there's an elephant in the room. I don't know what it is, so maybe Matt could. Yeah, we'll talk about it if you tell us what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
I'm not sure what the elephant is. We've talked about the Bro SR already, so. That's not the elephant you're talking about. Critical Role? Is there something going on with Critical Role I should know about? I don't know.
The Swiss. I don't know. I know what you talk Swiss Miss. I don't know.
They're too slick for me. Yeah, he's stirring the pot, but I don't know what's in the pot.
Oh. He's trying to start something in here.
Do it, man. Start it up, man. I like when stuff starts. Anyway, so of all these different categories, weird guy. Biggest geek is I have high trust in my players. I trust that my friend Mike would pay any cost to get a +1 anything better than he already had. Yeah, that's that cracker over there. He likes better stuff.
Yeah.
The 4D.
Eventually.
4D. What is 4D?
I don't know what 4D.
I've heard of 4D role playing. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, people have mentioned it. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what 4D role.
Oh, Critical Role is always the elephant in the room. I suppose for people who watch it,
They are pretty popular, man.
I've seen little clips here and there, and it's not my bag.
Yeah. I don't know what 4D role playing is, so I maybe have to look that up. So
we watched Max destroy that yesterday. What that? Critical Role or a 4D the 4D elephant? What did he destroy? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm Googling 4D role playing.
Are you referring to the idiots that want to be the voice of the old school? Nobody needs to do that.
No, I would say no. 4D. Role play 4 dimensions. Here it is. Role play not enforced in 4D, but is strongly encouraged.
You have a link?
Special boards. No, that's not a good link.
Okay.
How to get better? I don't know. I can't find it. Maybe the guys can help me. Oh. 4D role play. Okay. Oh, okay.
Sounds dumb.
Here it is. I think Dice Tell's got it. 4D, fully immersed, no out of character questions. Everything is role played.
Oh, that sounds dumb.
Oh, Joe would hate that.
That sounds dumb.
So that would mean that you couldn't even ask the dungeon master. Oh, that's kind of. Is that how Shonard plays? Nerd's nerd. 4D is just staying in character and giving players some creative control over the world. They can assume the room has a closet open. Oh, I've heard of that before. That's not the worst way to do it.
Not the worst. It's just not. I mean, sometimes if I don't speak in character, what happens? Do you like get the ruler out and smack my knuckles or something? I mean,
I don't think so. Oh, control of the world. Okay.
Right. And there's a lot of DMs that don't like that. Right.
I can deal with it to a point, but it can wreck some stuff. But it doesn't mean that it's always bad. Maybe they should wreck it.
Right.
Players can control part of the world. They say it's a better way for immersion. Yeah, whatever. El says, according to our favorite, Max Garibay. Oh, is he making fun of Mr. Boivin? I won't have that.
Mr. Garibay.
Or Garibay. I think he's mixing them up. So I don't look. If you want to do that, that's not a problem for me. I could probably roll with some of that as long as it's not too intrusive. I can't have them making decisions on my campaign world that if I already made something, I'll be like, no. Well, clearly this king is in favor of us. No, actually, he's not. He hates you. And he wants to kill you, so run. No, Mac was trying to start something.
Yeah, but no elephant.
Yeah.
Mac is saying no elephant. I was just trying to get someone to panic and fess up to something out of the blue.
Like Legion is saying, 4D is a role play session that is part of a role playing game, but in and of itself, it forgets there's a game there.
Yeah.
Just play acting. I mean, I can do it, but it's not my cup of tea. I do better as a player than a GM in that. Probably, I could probably do it.
Right.
I can play. Yeah, I can play that. It's not a problem for me. Doesn't sound great though.
I'll let Randy play that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that I'm okay with it. Play acting a little bit. I'm good with that. So any of these categories, these subcategories, FKR, Bro SR. Let's use the definitions Mr. Simulacrum did. Classic OSR, OSR adjacent, new SR, commercial OSR.
It's fine.
Yeah, I think it's good enough. It works for me. Yeah.
So Max says, other than D&D, what are your top 3 picks for OSR or old school gaming? Well, how about if we're going to do this, we need to have OSR and OSG be different because they do mean different things. Old games. What's your favorite top 3 old games? So they can get outside of the OSR ballywick.
Phase Rip, Marvel Superheroes Phase Rip.
Mm-hmm.
Original Deadlands. So that's pre-Savage Worlds Deadlands.
Yeah, is that 30 years old now?
Well,
at least 20.
Old. Pretty old, at least 20. And then I would say for old school games.
No, you only said 2.
I know. I'm trying to find Marvel Superheroes,
Deadlands.
Deadlands.
If you can't think of a third one, you have to stop.
Probably Warhammer.
Okay. So OSR.
OSR.
Do you have 3 OSR games you like?
OSE I like.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to like Castles.
Essentials.
I think I'm going to like Castles and Crusades. I mean, I haven't played it yet, so I can't say. And Swords and Wizardry, yeah, that's cool. I like those.
Okay.
Bruce makes a great point, though. Before you go on to Weird Guys, Bruce says the only adjacent that matters is the Advanced Bestiary adjacent.
If it's not compatible with that, then it's not a game.
Then it's not even a game. I agree with Bruce.
Is Dungeons and Delvers an OSR game? I don't know that. I don't know that he would even consider. Does it have the OSR label in it?
No,
I would.
No.
I am not going to speak for
David Quill. Yeah,
David Quill.
I'm going to speak for him.
I'm going to speak for him.
I'm speaking for him. No, he better not go against me or I'll cry.
It's Dice Pool.
Oh, the Dice Pool version. Yeah, Weird Guy loves the Dice Pool.
Yeah.
Star Adventurer, I believe Pundit claims that is.
And Old Swords Reign, those are for sure. Yeah. That's fine.
Dice Tales clarifying something. 4D is not play acting. You just say what your character's doing and where they are. You speak always in character. So there is a little bit of play acting. If you speak in character, that's a little acting.
Yeah.
Tiny bit.
When you're speaking in character,
you're taking on a role. I'm with you, Dice Tales.
When you say I, but you're playing your character, that's, yeah. I hardly ever do that.
L's got 2, Mold Vey Basic and Chill. The Chill or Chill?
That would be one from Mold Vey Basic's not OSR, it's Mold Vey Basic, and Chill is an old game. So,
forgot about Palladium Rifts. Yeah, that's an old game. Weird Guy put on Star Wars D6 Palladium Rifts, Mech Warrior.
Yes, Mark he qualified his Rifts to Palladium.
Yep, fair enough. I'm hopefully going to be playing that this week if I get lucky Thursday.
Yeah, Chill. Mac Thompson says he hasn't heard that name in a dog's age. Yeah, Chill is an old game.
Yeah,
that was back, if not late 70s, early 80s, I would think. Oh, for me, I don't know that I don't really have a favorite OSR game.
No.
Old School Essentials is
kind of the only one you've really played.
I think that is. And as far as old games go, I would put AD&D in there. I don't know. Yeah, Car Wars is old. That's for sure. Other old games that I like and would put in a top 3, I don't know that I could, because basically all the rest of them, I like them all about the same.
What about Champions? You were a big fan of Champions for a while.
Champions was all right, but I don't have it does not hold a special place in my heart.
Oh, right.
Especially now that Champions has become the hero system. Well, it was before, but they don't call it Champions anymore. It's all hero system, and it's a book about that thick.
Yes, it is.
It's really big.
Covers all bases and then some.
And I got it, but there's no way I'm going to play it. I don't know that I could play that game in its entirety in my lifetime, and if I was started at 20.
Weird Guy says he likes Shadowrun setting, not the rules. I'm with you, brother.
That's what I've always said about Rifts.
Kind of like that. What the hell? Randy's favorite game based on his player satisfaction rate must be human occupied landfill. I don't know what that is.
No, I poke fun at Randy, but we have a lot of fun when we play. I poke fun at, hey, is there a spell book here? I'm a wizard. There was a wizard in the game. No. Bueller.
Elle's got
a treasure? No treasure.
No.
But I poke him about that. But we have fun when we play. We have a lot of fun.
Elle says he would add Paranoia as his third OSG game. Mac is going to be calling out AD&D, Villains and Vigilantes. Ooh.
Oh, that's old.
Space Opera, or FASA Battletech, if that counts. Battletech's been Hasn't BattleTech been an RPG and a tabletop battle
It
game?
was a battle game in its original form, and then they
Right.
added some RPG rules later on.
Mech Warrior, was that what is that what became? Is that what, I don't know. I was never much into those.
I'm not sure if Mech Warrior is the RPG system for BattleTech or if it's two different things.
Yeah, Max says Mech Warrior was the RPG.
Yeah.
BattleTech was first. Yeah. I've I didn't play. I mean, like I said, we were mostly D&D guys. We squeezed a few in though. Yeah, I played the miniature game once. Weird guy. I played BattleTech once, and my buddy Philip kicked my teeth in, and I was like, this isn't very fun. So
that's what me and video games have always been.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not good at this. I'm doing something else.
Exactly. Oh, you want to tell them to do the things, man? Because it's getting late in the show, man. We should tell them to do the things.
Yes, I should. And yes, I'm telling you to do the things. Subscribe, like, share, post here in the comments live if you're watching us live or after the fact to help out that algorithm. Share it with your friends and your enemies if they'll even listen to you.
Yeah, Max telling me I got to practice, and I agree with him. It's a thing I should do.
You have to practice?
If you want to win your fights, yeah.
No, you don't.
In BattleTech, you got to practice. Shifting, moving, heat sink.
I thought you were talking about fighting in general. No, all you do is pull out your gun and shoot the guy. Practice involved. Well, you have to practice shooting.
Yeah, you practice shooting if you want to hit somebody. Oh, unless you get real close.
If you're fairly close, if you're not a total loser and you're fairly close, you shouldn't need too much practice to put a bullet in somebody.
Hey, are you feeling the next topic? I kind of am.
Live character creation.
Do you have dice handy? Because I thought I have the books.
I do.
You'll do the rolling for us. We are going to create a character.
Don't you try to control me.
I'm controlling
Tell me
Joe.
what to do.
This is Joe being the lackey. We're going to make a character for Horde Wars on the show, and we're going to go old school and pretty much roll for everything. So it's going to be a complete roll and see what happens. What's a 10 millimeter? I know I have a 9. What's a 10?
10 millimeter is 1 millimeter bigger.
One bigger. It's one louder. It's like 11.
Bigger. It hurts one worse.
That's one more pain level. Gotcha. Yeah, we've talked a lot about Horde Wars. We're heavy into it right now. So I'm going to have Joe build himself a character. Do you have a character sheet?
Somewhere. I don't have.
I can record it. I got a character sheet too because I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm doing all the hard work.
You're doing all the hard work of rolling. Okay.
And I did an 11-hour day at work. So
fair enough. Oh, nice.
And as my wife's new favorite YouTuber says, suck it.
Iron Man, look at this. He says, Todd and Nate are coming to his basement game in a couple of weeks. Fun will ensue. Nice. Hey, Blackwall's in. He's just in time.
Just in time.
To watch us roll some characters up using Horde Wars.
You can kill a bear with a 10 millimeter. They should work on people really well.
What kind of bear?
Yeah, I mean, that is a good question because a black bear and a grizzly bear
massively different.
A bit of a different hardware, I think.
Can kill some bears, yeah. All right, I'm turning to page 16, which is where we will find the species. The races of this game, for which there are 2.
Honestly, species is a more apt term, especially if they cannot have productive sexual congress.
Ooh, I don't think you can in this game. I think there's no productive. I mean, a character might be able to, but I don't think you can mix the races.
According to Mac, who's obviously knowledgeable, grizzly and polar need buffalo rounds because they charge head down and they have a very thick skull.
I can't believe this, but I'm going to acquiesce to L's request. I'm going to show the PDF. Well, I'm going to attempt to show the PDF.
Without inducing seizures in anyone, please.
Correct. So let me clean some stuff up. And let me get to the page.
Arnman says if you choose human, don't forget the extra feature. Well, we're not choosing. We're
There's
rolling.
going to be no choosing. We're going old school. Joe ain't picking a dang thing. He's rolling for everything. So,
He's
because I
going to
got
be
no
short,
time.
ugly, and can't dress himself.
I got no time for Joe's bull crap. Like I want to be good and stuff. He's going to make a crappy. Oh, I don't know. Unless I'm wrong. And I'm never wrong. Ha! Share? Are you seeing it? Super
Yes.
small.
Hey. Just want to slow your roll a bit. At the very top, it says pick your species. It doesn't say roll your species. It says pick.
Joe?
Should we roll the order that we make the character in?
No. We're not going fully. So we're just OSG. We're not going OSR.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you get to roll.
See, I'm correct. Right from the source. That is correct. We picked species because of a lack of productive intercourse between them.
Very cool.
So you're not going to have. That's why there's not the half orc. It's the orc as a species.
Yes. There we go. So pick your species, which were bull crap on that, says the main dungeon master. You're going to roll, sucker. A D6 -1. If you roll a 1, roll it again.
Dang, DM, making me roll.
Roll that crap, dude.
I rolled a 4, so that means 3.
3. So you're playing an elf. Suck. They're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I was hoping you wouldn't get a good one. I have a special race just for Joe, the loser who doesn't get spells. All right. Very cool.
According to Arnman, the only half orc in Horde Wars is one that got injured very badly.
Right on. So they talk about the sidebar with languages and fighting styles. We'll skip these sidebars. Oh, we got to do our attributes. Where am I going? So according to this, dude, do I want to navigate this whole thing? Because I'm going to have to scroll it.
Okay. We can't really do randomize. I guess we can randomly determine whether or not if you have like an elf gets 3 points in willpower and then another 3 points to distribute. So we could randomize the distribution.
So we have 4 stats, which is the give me a second. I might be able to help the people out just a little. I was hoping I could. Nope, can't share that. Where are the characters? Do I have a character? Shoot. I'm looking for a character sheet that I maybe could display. Well, here, this is my guy. This is my dude. I got a dude.
Okay, so I guess I should roll 4d4 because you can even apply it to willpower and have up to 6 in willpower.
Right. So you don't need to roll. Oh, I see. You're going to roll.
Yeah.
Well, you have 3 points.
3. Well, 3d4.
We're going to go. You're going to randomly select. That sounds good.
Well, you said randomize everything.
Dude,
so what the hell?
I'm living with it. Do it. Roll that D4.
So
what happened? Joe's gone. Joe must have hit his dice. Must have hit a button. He's literally gone. These are the instructions. So, but I need to give you what happened?
My dice are just murder on the live stream here.
Yeah, I'm trying to show.
And then somehow bumping my mouse did all that.
Yeah.
All right. So I rolled 3d4 and they all came up 3.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're putting a 3 in senses, right?
Apparently.
So the 3 in senses, a 0 in fitness, a 0 in reflexes, and then +3. So you would have a 3 in willpower.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can I switch this around? Can I stop sharing screen and then share screen and see, just so you can take a look. This is not Joe's character. This is my dominant character of ultimate power.
And is that form fillable?
No,
it's already filled in.
Right, I don't have a form fillable. If I was cooler with technology, we would do form fillable stuff, and everybody like, "Wow, Randy, you're so awesome."
Well, I mean, DM Blackwall would need to provide us with a form fillable character sheet.
So there's a character sheet. So this is my dude. So Joe is an elf, and this is your fitness, reflexes, senses, and willpower. These skills, not right now, because we only got so much time. It's 9 o'clock already. We're going to try to get through this character. What's up, Brian? That's one of our players in our group. Have you been recording all these shows? You didn't record last time. We need to record and get those out. Get our games on the webs. People can watch us play. But this is fitness, reflexes.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Yep.
Yes, please, DM Blackwall, share it on the Discord, and then at least I'll have one.
That's right. And Joe will send it to me.
Maybe
Joe does what I tell him tonight. He is the servant of the dungeon master.
If I get around to it.
I can look it up too on Discord, depending on where he puts it. Believe it or not, I can navigate some things. But those are the 4 stats. So these would replace your 6 stats in D&D. They're different. So Joe has a 0 in everything. 0 fitness, 0 reflexes, 3 in senses, and 3 in willpower.
Yes.
Each one of those can modify a certain skill, correct, Joe?
Say that again?
Oh, he shared it via Google Drive.
Yeah.
On my Google Drive. Okay, cool. I'm not going to do that right now. We're just going to wing this, okay? This will be fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not saying do it right now. I'm just happy that he did it. All right, so.
Anyway, so back to the... Do I have to keep stopping and then sharing and resharing? I guess that's the only way to do it, huh?
Especially on your Super Mac.
Super Mac of power. Okay. Anyway. Jeez Louise, dude.
How about we just do the things and then fill out a character sheet, and then next week we will post it, or maybe we can post it later on.
Sure. Sounds good. I'm trying to...
So we'll just run through it.
Yeah. So next is calculate your hit points. So Joe's
Hold on.
Did I skip something?
Assign abilities. Write those on your character sheet. Make note of your starting languages and fighting styles.
Thank you. Okay. So according to you, your languages are Elven and 1 more.
Okay. So how many are there here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13.
Elle is saying share. You're saying share?
Yeah. Do it. Exactly what I just said.
So leave this on the screen or get rid of it.
Leave it up.
Okay.
Leave it up.
So
these are the instructions.
The languages will not look up. Joe knows enough to put them on there.
Yeah, they're right here. They're on the screen already.
Oh, yeah. He knows enough because they're on there. I'm looking at the book. Sorry. I'm looking at the elf. Now.
Oh, hold on a second. I might have.
Yeah, sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 13. There are 13.
And so you pick.
And 12 because there's already elf. So I'll just roll a d12.
Yeah.
And ignore elven. 10. Old tongue.
All right. So you got the old tongue. Your tongue is old. -1, Iron Man. He's ignoring it. Yeah.
Huh?
Iron Man said D12 for languages. You already know.
We both said the same thing.
He subtract 1.
No, I don't. Okay. I
What?
ignore Elven.
You ignore all Elven.
You just go right past.
You need a fighting style.
Okay.
You get bows and another fighting style of your choice. I think these are in addition to what you're normally going to get, right?
No, you get your
2 plus
combat
your
skill plus 2
in fighting
as your maximum number, and
those
are included in that. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm following now. It's all making sense. It's all coming clear to me now.
16. So there's already bows. So we take bows out, and then there are 15.
15.
There are 16. -1 for bows. That makes 15. So I'm going to roll a d20 and ignore anything above a 15. I rolled an 8.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lances.
Excellent. Lancing bow user.
Yeah.
Lance and bow. Okay. Now let's move down to calculating hit points. 18 plus your fitness attribute, which is 0.
So 18.
Yes. Nice. Let me scooch up a little bit. Not too far.
No, you're good.
Choose 2 careers. Now, there are 19 starting careers, correct? I think is there a list of those careers somewhere? I can go to the chapter starting with Acolyte, but I think there's 19, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 16, 18. Oh, there's
21.
There's 21. So you could pick one and then randomly roll for one. Why don't you just roll for both of them?
So how do I get 21?
If you roll 20, I'll let you pick 20 or 21. Look how generous I am. I'm making this simple tonight, baby.
All right.
Roll for your classes.
8.
8. So 2, 4,
and 7.
6. You are a knight huntsman. Not bad.
All right. Knight huntsman. So knight is what you think a knight is, and a huntsman, they hunt things.
Yeah. So your careers are knight, huntsman. Well, that's not bad. Very cool. All right. What does it say? Your
Choose addition.
So you get starting abilities listed for both careers. Write these down in your character sheet. All right. I'll just read them and write them down later. Okay, Joe?
Right.
So we can see.
There should be there should be like this and that, and then select one.
Correct.
Something like that.
So as a huntsman, is a dedicated hunter and skilled tracker. He may work as a bounty hunter, a king's forester, or a falconer or houndmaster for a local noble. That's the description of the class.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get athletics, combat, and +1 skill of your choice. Okay. And I do believe you get to, for the starting abilities listed for both careers, write these abilities. You get both of them.
Right.
And from the knight, who is a trained warrior to the service of a ruler, you get athletics, combat. So you basically get, for each one that doubles, you get an extra skill choice. So you're going to get athletics and combat, and you're going to get 4 choices of skills.
Why 4?
Well,
are they both athletics?
Because they overlap. Both of them are athletics. Both of them are combat.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to get a total of 4. Because here's how it works, folks. If you have the same skill given to you by the same class, you get to add 1. You get to pick your own 1 skill. So that's kind of sweet. So you'll get athletics, combat, and then you'll get to pick 4 other skills.
All right. So what skills are there? I mean, how many skills are there?
These skills of power. There are 24 skills.
Okay, there's 24 skills, but we are ignoring 2 of them so far.
Right. So there's 22 skills because you have athletics and you have combat. That means you'll get a 2 in each one of those. Though since you're an elf, I think you get a bonus to that.
All right. All right. So
I forgot survival and writing. I don't see where that. Oh, bonus skills. Dang it.
What bonus skills?
Okay, hold on, dude. They got bonus skills. I missed that.
What bonus skills?
You get writing as a bonus skill from a knight, and you get survival as a bonus skill from you being a tracker. Well, that's great. You just roll a d20 4 times. Go. I read it. I found it.
Okay, roll d20 4 times. First one is 7.
7, 2.
This d20 likes the number 7.
Engineering. Awesome.
2.
Astronomy. Excellent.
14.
Magic. Look at that.
And 20.
Oh, supernatural. Look at you, dude.
Man of the world.
You get faith-based spells. You can get all kinds of cool stuff. You're unstoppable. All right. Let's see here. You can wear heavy armor without speed penalty. Cool.
I don't know if there's any implication for heavy armor and the huntsman abilities at all.
Let's take a look-see. You are battle hardened. The first time each day that you would be reduced to 0 hit points, you're reduced to 1 hit point. Nice. These are considered abilities. Battle hardened.
L says Joe is a warcaster, sword and spells, except no spells.
So far,
You
no
have
spells.
the magic skill and the supernatural skill, but don't know any spells.
You are a shield block. It's a maneuver. You get shield block, which allows you to, whenever you or an adjacent ally would be hit by an attack, you instead block it with your shield, causing the attack to miss. It is a maneuver. He can only do one of those per round. So
is that just limited by the round, or is that limited number of uses per day?
It says,
I don't think maneuvers do that.
I think it's by the round.
Okay, cool.
Smite. Whenever you hit with a melee weapon attack, you may use smite to deal an additional die of damage. That is another maneuver.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a maneuver?
Maneuver.
So you can either be defensive or attackage.
Correct. So you can't do both. You can lay the smack down. And our man makes a good point. You can get spells at higher levels. So you may have been trained in your life to cast spells. You just never had the opportunity to fully study them.
When you level up and get a, what do they call it? Feature?
Yeah. You can pick a spell.
Or my character gets a feature at first level. So I could pick a spell. It all depends.
Or you could pick up a bunch of scrolls. Well, you could pick up 2 or 3 scrolls because
2 or 3.
You won't have enough room to carry more than 2 or 3.
No.
You also get glimmer oil once a day per tier. Choose one of your melee or ranged weapons. That's what your wife could do last time we played.
Yeah.
For the next minute, it counts as special materials: black iron, bronze, or silver. Wow. This dude is kind of a BA.
He does all kinds of things.
Yeah. And that's literally just one. That's random stuff, dude. And you're pretty cool. All right. You do have to choose starting equipment, but you have to pick one or the other for starting equipment.
All righty. High, low.
Okay.
Pick high or low.
Okay. I'll pick high.
5, high.
So did you decide what high was, or was I deciding what high was?
You were supposed to do
Then
that.
it was Huntsman.
Okay.
I was choosing.
So Huntsman. Starting equipment.
Yeah, so you'll get 5 crowns, 10 marks. That's kind of like gold and silver. You will get a chain shirt, broadsword. I'm just going to put Huntsman equipment.
Yeah.
10 bolts, heavy crossbow, mercenary leathers, flint and steel. Dude, if you could have gotten the knights, you would have got the breastplate. Not bad.
Oh.
Still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so your skills are, and let me go back and check real quick. Being an elf.
I don't know if the elf gets extra skills,
aptitude.
But you pick a skill and you get an extra +1 at it.
Oh. You get elven aptitude.
Right.
You are incredibly talented in a single discipline. Pick a skill from one of your careers. You gain the skill focus perk in that skill.
Which is +1.
Which I think is where everybody that was playing the elves last week with the pre-gens were +3 to combat. That's the most likely something people will pick because combat's a big deal. And having a +3 is pretty juicy.
So I'm going to be able to pick 3 more fighting styles.
Yep.
Or no, 1 more fighting style, because we already did the extras beyond bow, right?
Lance and bow is all you have, and you're going to have 2 plus your combat skill, so you could have up to 5.
So we'll have to roll for all the other 3. So,
well, do you want? Well, it says +1 to skill. You want to roll randomly which one you add the +2, which one you add the +1 to?
Oh, that's right. It may not be. It may not
Yeah.
be combat.
So 2, 4, 6, 8. Roll a D8. I got you.
D8. 7.
Supernatural.
Okay.
You're kind of a super priestly type elf of awesome night huntsman-tude.
So I do have to roll 2 other fighting styles.
You do. Well, you have to roll 2 other fighting styles. Yep.
Yes.
Did I take it off I think I took it off the screen for you
Yes, you did.
because I'm mean like that.
Yes, you are.
Can you see that now?
No.
Okay. What am I doing then?
You
Choose
need to just
your
go up a little.
skills.
You need to go up a little bit more on the page. There. No, a little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. There we go. Good.
Oh, right at the top.
All right. So,
It said, DM says, Blackwall says you may want to match your equipment. So you are running around with a broadsword, a crossbow.
Randy said roll everything.
Why don't you at least pick? Just go ahead and it's stupid. At least pick your weapons you have.
So what
now.
weapons do I have?
Swords. You would pick swords.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a crossbow, so that would be crossbows. Yeah, let's not be silly.
So bows, crossbows, swords, and lances. Okay.
So to be fair,
Lance does work with him being a knight.
Yes, I would. To be fair, I would enjoy Joe having rolled and gotten clubs and staves. That would have been
pole
great.
arms would work out okay.
Pole arms and pole arms would have been okay.
Improvised weapons.
Yeah. All right. So now we're back to.
We're practically done.
We are. We're almost done. We've done the skills. Each career grants you skill training in 2 or 3 specific skills, 1 skill of your choice. If any of your skills overlap, we've done that.
Yeah. We haven't done languages.
Calculate your carrying capacity.
Hold on.
Did I skip languages on you?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, a total number of languages equal to your language skill plus 2. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have a 0 on language skill. So we're good.
You've got all your languages. You've got them. And Joe will be able to make 2 attacks with lances, bows, swords, and crossbows because they're part of his fighting style.
Right.
So when he goes as a turn, he'll get 2 attacks with his bow or 2 attacks with his sword. Yep.
It's probably good that he started with the huntsman equipment anyway, because he only has a 0 fitness.
Right. And Armin makes a good point. Had you rolled human, you could have picked the spell as the extra feature right off the bat. Yeah.
Right. But I get to pick a feature.
Do you?
Actually get to roll a feature. Yeah. Look at number 8.
Your character must meet the prerequisites. Do elves get to pick features or just an extra feature? Okay.
No. Okay. Pick a feature is part of character creation. Humans get an extra one.
Oh, okay. So it looks like your fitness is then going to be your carrying capacity is going to be 8.
Yeah, unless I pick up something that increases it. So we need to look at the features and see which ones.
Right on. There's a bunch of features, and they're on. Where is my? I have it here. I can find it. Hold on. It's not too far away.
There's a nice amount, but there's not a huge amount. It's not like there's 100.
Do you want to roll them? We should roll them randomly if you qualify, right?
Right. So first thing we need to see, there's a couple of different categories of feature, aren't there?
There's general features.
Combat.
Ability, mastery, combat features, and then there's magic and supernatural features.
Now look at those and see if I could meet any of those prerequisites.
Of the magic
for the magic ones. Because I might end up needing to have a spell.
Actually, I think you should roll. I think you should roll a D6. 1, 2 is one, 2 is
okay. If I can't meet the prerequisites of any of the supernatural or magic
there's no
features,
point.
There's no point.
Most of them are magic or supernatural training, which you have both.
Okay.
So a D6, 1, 2 is going to be general, 3, 4 is going to be combat, 5, 6 is going to be
supernatural or magic.
Good night, Mac.
2.
All right. So 1, 2 is general. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll have you re-roll if you don't qualify. 8, 9, 10, 11, 15. So roll a D15.
I roll a D20 and ignore everything but 15 or lower.
Yeah.
12.
12. Okay. Uncanny reflexes. Reflex attribute of 3 or more you don't have.
Okay, let's try again.
Okay.
4.
Athlete. That's actually reasonable. You do have athletics training. You can hold your breath for an additional number of rounds equal to your athletic skill. In addition, your land speed is improved by +1 combat space. You can climb or swim to 3 combat spaces instead of using your land speed. So you actually move at an 8. Elves are already pretty fast. You're a really fast elf. So your speed is 8 combat spaces.
All righty. He's wiry because he has a 0 fitness. So
yeah, he must just be a natural.
Solid, but not. Yeah.
Uncanny reflexes.
Yeah.
All right. And let's see. And that's your feature. We're done. Character is made. So his speed is 8, so he's a fast dude. And he is right out the gate. He's not bad. He's gonna be pretty good with his. He's gonna be a kind of across the board weapon guy. You have lance, polearm, bow, sword, and crossbow. You are gonna have. Oh, we got to calculate your defense. You are wearing. What was the defense that you got? The huntsman. It's probably an 8. 6 plus whatever the huntsman gets. He gets a chain shirt. So I think that's 6 plus.
It's 8 plus.
Is it 8 plus?
Pretty sure.
Let me see. I gotta find the equipment. Is it before or after the character? I think it's after the character stuff. Chain shirt. Yep. Let's see here. Jeez Louise. I can't find that. I thought I had it all figured. I gotta tab this stupid book. Armor. 8. You're right, Joe.
8.
You got it mesmerized. 18 hit points. You're going to have umbral protection because you're an elf. And your chain shirt is going to give you protection from slashing and what else? Piercing, maybe? Yep, slashing and piercing. So you got 3 protections all the way. His protections, folks, mean when he takes damage, if someone does, DM Blackwall pointing out, he gets 2 attacks for 2 dice each round, plus the ability to smite, which is kind of boss. So you'll be a hitter, dude. You're going to be a hitter. You're going to do some damage. And then if someone attacks you with umbral, slashing, or protection, umbral's a type of undead magic-y stuff. Is that right, DM Blackwall? I believe it is. Any of those things, Joe will take half damage.
Yes.
So round down. So yeah, he's ready to play. You could sit right down and Joe could. We ought to do his name randomly. Hold on, I want to go to Fantasy Elf Name Generator, and the first one they generate, that's your name. Okay.
Okay, it might be Melf. They don't do stuff like that.
No, it's much better than that.
Like 500 letters.
Yeah. This reminds me of Hyperborea. Yartael Rallowin. Yart.
There are a list of names in the elf section.
Yeah.
Of the book.
Oh, I could do that, I guess, but it's all right.
RKL.
I'll share the name. It's ridiculous. I love it. Sounds like something I would pick. Hold on. There it is.
Yeah.
Yartael Rallowin. Yeah. Yes, I could roll on the elf list. Gertrude Jolindra. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Martinson says, did Joe just make Butch 3.0? I don't know, dude. If Joe actually played this cat, he could. Here's the idea, folks. I'm sorry, you may not want to play him, Joe, but he's interesting.
Yeah.
He's actually an interesting character.
Oh, the thing is he's not, his strength score, his fitness score doesn't really matter a lot.
No, and it doesn't match his athletic stuff, but it is interesting. He's basically fast, but maybe not. He's good over short distances, maybe. But Yeah, I think if fitness of 0, it sounds like you're horrible. It just means you're average. You got average fitness.
Right.
I
So
mean, I would think.
he's got combat +2, so you roll your dice plus your combat score. You don't add your fitness to it.
Nope.
So it's not that big of a deal, really.
No.
So at this for this character, he's not, he's not lifting a bunch of weight over his head. He's not bending bars, lifting gates, or anything like that. He's a skilled combatant. Speed build, yeah.
Can't he make a? He says, can't he make a fitness fail be a success once a day? Is that an elven ability?
I don't
know. Man, I'm not sure. Yeah, he is definitely DPS, says L. If we were playing a MMO, he would be a DPS speed guy running around combat, clobbering stuff and moving to the next guy. And then if he gets spells, you could be an interesting cat, dude.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's completely random, folks. So it's a fun woodsman / night guy, probably trained formally, maybe in like an elven conclave. He had to go through all the training. He has an aptitude for magic. He also studied faith-based magic. And so this guy, he's kind of an all-around dude, except for not being buff. He's a little, he would probably throw people off when they look at him, thinking that guy's kind of a wuss. You know, he's a pretty plain dude. And then you're like, hey, watch this wuss.
Like Paul Atreides.
Yeah, exactly. This is just a random kind of dude. So to me, this is sort of the power of Horde Wars. We did random, and at first I'm like, Joe's making a crap character. He's not maxed out, min-maxed by any stretch of the imagination, but he's more than playable.
And he can pick up some cool stuff as he levels. Those features give you the ability to grab spells and different things, as long as you have the right training and the right prerequisites.
Yeah,
there's just a couple of features that let you pick up stats as well.
And obviously, we had Joe for the fun of it roll for everything. But if you're picking, you could definitely pick your guy and make him how you want him to be. I think the 2-class system, the 2 career system sounded weird at first, but it really builds well. It's got a neat element to it.
He could be a witch hunter.
He absolutely could be. He knows their tricks of their trade, and yeah. All right, that was pretty good. That was fun.
That was cool.
Yeah.
So
maybe I can PDF you this guy, and then you can put him in that. Or maybe I'll put him in that thing.
Sounds like a plan.
And post it. Yeah. Yeah. Tavern Winch, is Tavern Winch a class?
Yeah,
it is. I think it is. Huh, that's odd. But yeah, that was cool. DM Black. It was fun. I look how fast we're getting, and we were also trying to show stuff. So I think this game's got the right kind of speed for me. I like that kind of quick build, jump in. If your character dies, I mean, Joe could make this character in 15 minutes on his own.
Right. And see, that was a lot of random rolls. So it took a little extra time, and we're fumbling around with the book online and everything. Once you have the book in front of you and you read through it a little bit, you know what you're doing, it'll be even faster. Very quick character creation.
Very fun. I enjoyed that. All right. I think that's all I've got as far as the character creation stuff. I do have some report for Big Geek Land if you want to talk about our Big Geek Con 2.
Yeah. Why don't you do that?
Joe and I still have some decision making. For those that have came last year, we've got the whole place. I've got the two ballrooms of 1. I've got a 20-person room and 2 side rooms that'll hold 10 people each. And I got all that for maybe 30% more than what I paid last year. So we've got the whole hotel. Now we're going to try to run this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The times may vary, but it is going to be September 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And I think here's the part we'll put in quotations. Don't write this in stone, but write down September. Free rooms. Free gaming rooms. You still have to pay for the hotel room. We hope to have a price it'll be cheaper than the regular rooms, but it is going to be September 20th through 22nd, 2024 at the 4 Points Sheraton.
Right. So we might start midday Friday.
Yeah, I'm toying. You and I can talk more about this. I was thinking starting at 4 p.m., but we could start earlier on Friday and go till it's over. And then Saturday all day, we may start bright and early, 8 a.m. on Saturday. And then Sunday, I was thinking we'd start at 8, but I know because I'm willing to skip church and be there. If you want to go to church, that's fine and come back later, but probably ending at 4 or 5. We'll talk about it. And those times may change. So yeah, when I said the whole hotel, all I meant was this. Because we got more gaming space now. So we're going to have the big hall that we had last time, plus another hall that's about half. It's about 2/3 the size of one half of the. So it's 1/3 of the size of the whole thing. And then there's 2 small rooms, and they both have whiteboards. And I figured we could put a couple. We might have a kids' room. That's what I was thinking. There'll be a kids' room where we're going to have maybe on one side we might have kids. I'm thinking we might have movies going on, Joe. I'm toying with some ideas to and let the kids play and stuff like that. So the dates are locked in. Yes, it is September 20th to 22nd. Those are the dates. No problem. Flady wanted to know. Yes, thank you, sir. Right. One hall I'm thinking we have a hall for the kids' games. Doesn't mean that some kids can't play in adult games, but when we have an all kids game, it got pretty loud. And I know when I'm running kids, I get pretty crazy. I love to get animated and them because they're into it. So I think that would be great to have a kids area. I'm going to bring a couple of wall dividers for the smaller room. We'll see how it goes. I have a feeling I'll probably be able to have one room for the kids, another room for kids and adults, and then a bigger room for if we just depend. I hope we have enough to where we need all the space.
Sure.
So we'll probably get to redesign some things. It should be really good. Flady's going to be requesting tomorrow. All right, dude. Looking forward to seeing you. Anybody that wants to come, it's right now. It's all still going to be $30. I think with $30 we can cover this cost pretty reasonably if we get the same number of people. So Big Geek Con 2 signed on the dotted line, so it's going to happen.
All righty. You heard it. We just have to nail down the start time for
Friday and Sunday.
And the end time for Sunday.
The end time. We're going to figure it. It's got to be fairly early because I got to teach the next day. I don't know about artists and vendors. We do have some people that have stuff they could display and sell. If we do, we may put that separately.
Yeah, we don't really have vendors like they do at the other conventions. We just have a couple of people. I mean, technically you can call them vendors, but we have some things for sale, and they'll be set up near the I think we'll probably set it up the way we did last year.
I would love to get my second adventure done, though I haven't even started on it yet. I don't think I would write it in Horde Wars rules. I'd rather write it in OSC-ish sort of stuff. But we'll see. Our man asked 3 sessions Saturday and Sunday. I think 3 sessions are good for Saturday. Sunday and Friday might be 2 sessions each. We'll see. I can't stay very late on Sunday because we got to work. So, and it was a lot to do. So, and people have to get back home and stuff. I know it would be fun to do that all the way. So, yeah, Big Geek Con 3. Maybe it'll be bigger. I don't know. Let's get number 2 under our belt and see how it goes because we're going to modify some stuff. But I'm excited. I think I'm excited about this, and I think it's going to be good. So
sounds good.
Anything from the Emporium or anything you want to add, Joe?
I don't want to add anything. We're good.
All right, brother.
All right. So if that's all from you and that's all from me, this is Joe.
And this is Randy.
And remember, if you can't be big like us, then be geeks like us.